Hey everyone, welcome to Brave Souls. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Tonight's guest, her name is Daria Rottenberk. She is a model and an ambassador of I'mAdopted.org, and I cannot wait for her to come on and join me to share her adoption journey with all of you. So once Daria joins, she'll request, and we will get started shortly. Hi Joshua, welcome. Hey Raya. Daria's here. The Wander. Hi Katya, welcome. Okay, I am bringing on Daria right now. Hi Keith. Hey.
Hey girl.
How are you?
I'm good. I was like rushing around today. I just like poured my coffee, but I'm here.
I have my iced tea, so.
Iced tea?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I do.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous all day. I was like, oh my gosh.
Really, to come on tonight?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. It's funny like when it hits you.
Yeah. I get nervous. I still get nervous, honestly.
Yeah, because I'm usually like in your shoes. So,
yeah.
You know, I've like talked about my story and stuff, but not like in full. So
I get it. Hey Danielle. Hey Frankie. Hey everyone that just joined.
hey guys.
Hey Jim.
Oh, Jim's here. Hi Jim. You just did his story. You just shared his story, right?
I saw. I have to go back and read it, but I did see him come up.
Yeah. He's awesome. Jim is awesome.
He is. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So just letting everyone know, I have my dog, I have my cat, and I'm dog sitting. So if you guys see animals just like free roaming.
That's okay. I never know what my dog's going to do when I'm live. So I hold my breath every time.
I know. I saw the one live that you thought something had occurred. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I thought he was having trouble breathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, is my dog literally dying in the middle of my live? I was like,
that's the downside of lives, is like you just never know.
I know. No, but he's chewing on his bone right now. He's good for now. Yeah.
Good.
Hey Anastasia, welcome. Hi everyone else who joined. I don't like to butcher people's names sometimes, so when I'm not sure, I don't call it out. So I just welcome all the new people.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to turn it up louder. Okay.
So I'm just gonna give it some time for people to join, and we'll give like another minute.
How's your day been?
So beautiful.
Oh my gosh, thanks. I was like rushing to get ready. I'm like, how ready should I get today?
I'm like in the same outfit I was all day, so don't even worry about it.
So how's your day been so far though?
It's been interesting, but I will not share on this live. But
interesting?
Yeah. It's been a long day.
Share after if you want. Yeah. Sorry, my eyes literally get so watery after I do my makeup, so if you guys see me doing that, I'm not crying yet.
It's okay. I'll cry with you. It's okay. Hi everyone, welcome.
Hi, Ep.6. Yeah, it's so funny.
Okay, so I guess we'll start. So for anyone who can't join or joins in late, I always save the lives, and now thanks to Daria, I know how to download the lives and then post. So I wish I knew that my other 30 people I've had on here, but I'm working to get all those other ones downloaded. But now I know going forward. So hopefully it works tonight. Hi, Anna. Okay, so Daria, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Yal. People.
Hi.
Have you read her book?
No.
It's from Gypsy to Jersey. I just ordered it. Actually, we were on a call, and in the middle of our call, I was on Amazon ordering it.
Really?
So I started it. I have to read more, but yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's a Romanian adoptee as well.
Okay. I think I've seen, I don't know if she told her story with you or with I'm Adopted, but I know I checked it out.
I don't think she hasn't come on with me yet.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen her story told somewhere, or I've heard her story. Hey, girly.
She's a very sweet woman. Okay, so Daria, why don't you start your adoption journey? Start from the beginning, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So yeah, hi guys, I'm Daria. Before I even like dive into everything, this is kind of my first time, aside from like doing the I'm Adopted podcast, like maybe a year and a half ago. It's like my first time coming, to share my story, not only live, but like in a video form. I've been wanting to do it for like a long time, but I tried it once and I just was like a sobbing mess. And I'm like, I second guessed myself so much. And I think that's like an adoptee thing to do. And I just wasn't ready to like fully talk about it or share it. So here I am, and here goes.
You got this.
So yeah, I'm a Russian American adoptee. I was born in St. Petersburg, Russia. And I basically just have memories being with my birth father. And they weren't the best memories. One of the only good memories that I have brought me to kind of my adoption experience. We ended up like in a hospital. I'm not going to get too crazy deep into that story, but we ended up in a hospital, and I think a nurse that was there had noticed that I was malnourished and just like not being well taken care of. I was, basically it looked like I was being neglected. And so she took me from my birth father, or, it could have been his decision as well, who knows. But I was taken to an orphanage. I remember like it was walking distance across the street. So yeah, from 4 years old, I ended up in 3 different orphanages from 4 to 6 years old. The orphanages were very institutionalizing to me. Very, man, I don't even know, just being in 3 different orphanages. I just remember I was like crying out towards my birth father. I was asking questions like, what happened? Where is he? I don't fully remember this, but I know I was crying out, and I was doing that. The first orphanage that I got into, right after being separated from my birth father, they had shaved me bald, like immediately.
Oh my God.
So I remember I was bawling my eyes out, like in all forms, and then like, just mentioning my memories for you guys. Like right after that, I went and, saw the other kids that were there, and they were like all calling me a boy because, I had no hair.
That's so weird. I really think that I might have been, maybe it's like a Eastern European thing in orphanages, because I was too, because when I had like very boy cut hair.
Yeah.
Like very short.
I was told from, I don't know who I was even told from, probably the first family that adopted me, that most likely I had lice, or if I had lice, that's why they did that. It was kind of either a procedure, or if it was just me personally that needed it. But yeah, I'm sure, the neglect and all that, it's totally possible for most, orphans, I'm assuming. Yeah. But, they were laughing and calling me a boy and, all these crazy things. And then the second orphanage that I ended up in was a lot bigger. It was a lot more structured, routined. And I remember I wasn't very, it wasn't very like individualized. It was just so many orphans there that we didn't all get like the nurture that we needed. And I remember some memories there too. And then the last orphanage that I was at, some bad memories there as well. But that's, when the adoption process started. And before all that came to be, my birth father came to visit me in my last orphanage. And I obviously remember that. And there's just so many things that have held me to this experience and to that particular moment that have made me think like, well, why was he there? I remember I was like really angry
Yeah.
I was like probably 6.5 years old at this time. I was really angry at him. I was mad for all those years and growing up too. But yeah, like to this day, it's always been in the back of my head, like what was the reasoning for him to come back? Was he ready to, you know, to take care of me? You know, it was he just saying bye because he knew I was getting adopted. You know, I was so young, between 4 and 6 years old, that I have these memories that I have been trying to, put the pieces together for myself to try to understand it. But I'm so little and I don't know, I could have comprehended things so differently back then as to what it really was.
Right.
So anyways, I was adopted by my first family, and man, where do I even go from there? It's with my whole story, it's a lot. I went from basically 3 different orphanages and 3 different families in the U.S. So it's been a lot for me to navigate and filter through. So I think as I'm starting to share my story more, it changes. That's the hardest part for me, is it changes, like my perspectives, my perception of the triad and the 3 different families that I've, kind of been put into. It changes how I feel, how I now choose to share my story. Those pieces sometimes change. So that's been one of the major, like, kind of drawbacks as to why I haven't fully told everything, because it's been so up and down emotionally.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For real. So the first family that adopted me, I loved them so much, and I still do. But it was toxic. It was a toxic environment. I think I was seeing a psychologist or psychiatrist or a therapist, something along those lines, that, that made me write in these notebooks that I have now. So between 6 and 8, I was with that family. And as I was seeing this person that was helping me kind of filter through my emotions, and just try to express myself, because I was only 6 years old, separated from my birth father, 3 different orphanages, and then all of a sudden in the States, all that, and they were a wealthier family than I was used to, and all these things provided for me. And I just had no idea how to filter through it or how to navigate my emotions. I also spoke Russian, which I don't remember, but, I didn't know how to express myself emotionally, let alone verbally. So, I guess I learned English pretty quick, but I started acting out. So I don't know if you're familiar with reactive attachment disorder.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. And for those of you watching, it's basically just not knowing how to just express myself, and not knowing how to accept love and nurture. And even while I had the love and the nurture, it was a little bit toxic and a little bit manipulating.
Yeah. Due
to these notebooks that I had, I received them later on in life. I got them back with my family that I'm with now. And I am now starting to see the manipulation, the toxicity behind it, even though I loved that family so much, right? Yeah. But now I see it for what it is, and I accept it, but I still know that I love them. So it's kind of a bit of a, I don't know, crazy mind thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But so yeah, with that, I think CPS, like, I just had a lot of issues in that environment, settling in and adjusting. I was just acting out a lot. And I think CPS, Child Protective Services, eventually, took me from that family and put me up with another family. For that, I don't even know how long I was with them, maybe like a year or less. But I remember I did not like that family either at all. And I don't even really think about it, or, when I first told my story, like on the I'm Adopted podcast, I didn't even mention that the second family, I don't think. Like I said, like, it's just been so much to filter through, but it is a part of my story still.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Sasha. But no, it's like, the second family, I don't know, it just wasn't a good fit or a match. And I was begging to go back to my first family because I just was like, I love you guys. I don't know what's wrong here, but I still love you guys, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted to run away from my second family, or from that second, you know, placement family. Like, it's kind of confusing because it's like I was never fostered, but I was never officially adopted until my third family. So it's kind of a similar experience. So after, you know, I went back to the first family, and still obviously was not a good fit. And now I found my family now, the Rottenberks. And at 8 years old, I was officially adopted with the Rottenberks. And I was the only child in that family for a little bit until later on we adopted, you know, my two younger brothers, which are half brothers, not related to me or my parents. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Sasha.
This dog is so silly. Thanks
So
for always sharing with us. Thank you, Sasha. And I'll just mention, there's probably going to be some, I've seen some weird comments already. So
you know what, that's why I'm like,
ignoring that.
Just look at me the whole time. Just focus on me.
Totally. I'm like, these comments are hilarious. But anyways, yeah, so I found my family now, and, you know, I grew up pretty normal, pretty great childhood. But as I, you know, when I was first younger, like from before I hit like preteen years, I was like, man, like my story was like the talk with like all my classmates. Like I thought I was just like so special and so cool and unique and different. I'm Russian and I'm adopted, and I was known for having like this big smile and just positive, like happy-go-lucky energy, and like,
you still do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I totally do. But now it's like I'm seeing, you know, out of the fog more. But yeah, as I got older into preteen years, and adoptee or non-adoptee, we're teenagers. We're trying to figure our life out, you know, and even high school, it's like so much that we're filtering through, and who am I going to be? What's my own identity? Like all these things, and add an adoptee layer to it. You know, I never processed my adoption. I never had proper, even though I had like that therapist or a psychiatrist from all these different families, I still think I was seeing this person with the Rottenberks as well. I don't actually remember, but I guess he said she's good to go. Like, she's okay. She's like, you don't have to, you know, take her to see me anymore. I don't remember all that, but I think I just hid everything away. I think I just acted like I was fine. And I just, as I started getting into teenager years, I just was like, I'm totally not fine. Did not relate it to my adoption at all. I just was like, I don't really like fit into this family. Like, you know, all these questions started arising.
A disconnect.
Total disconnect. And, you know, it's just a part of the adoption journey and experience. Like, you know, it's unfortunate if I, like, you know, acted out or treated my parents at that time, like, in any way, but I just I never knew how to process. I never knew how to express. Or if I did with a psychiatrist, if I had that outlet, I don't think it was ever like about my adoption experience. I think it was just about like, how do you feel about your parents? Like that kind of stuff. Versus like, how do you feel about the trauma of your memories in Russia and 3 different orphanages, 3 different families.
So many different traumas that you experienced.
It's a lot. And so, you know, grew up with my brothers, love my brothers so much. And pretty normal, I would say. And then once I went off to college, I was very quick to just like get out, do my thing, very independent. I just wanted to get out and start my life. And I went off to college like an hour away, and, you know, I'd come home and like do my laundry and like steal the toilet paper and the paper towel, you know, do silly things like that. But I just never felt really supported by my family at this time. We had different love languages. We had different ways, you know, they don't really, they're not as open to expressing themselves. So I felt, you know, I obviously am, look at me now, but like back then and growing up, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't either, you know? So I closed myself off from all of that. So I never really expressed myself. I think, you know, as I got older, my friends knew I was adopted. I was from Russia. Like they knew the specifics. But I never got into detail about anything,
Right.
at least that I remember. I don't think I did, but you know, and then as I, you know, got into like my younger 20s and like out of college and just trying to figure out my life, I just, like, I remember I was like traveling with the auto shows, and I would meet people out on the road, and everyone was like, oh, Daria, like, where's that from? Your name? Like, oh my gosh, like they want to know me, like, cause I have this bubbly personality, but then I shut down, right? Like right when all that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to close off, you know, cause I just didn't want to talk about that anymore. And I was so triggered. Anything about Russia, I was triggered about. Anything about my name, I was triggered. Any questions, I was triggered. I would just shut it down, shut it down. So basically, I numbed myself completely down up until like my mid to later 20s. And I started, basically, I moved to LA. So I'm out here now. I've been out here for almost 4 years. And I came out here because I wanted to pursue, you know, modeling, acting, like the industry, the atmosphere, all these things. But truly, my soul was like called to be here to like just be more still in my life and be more alone in my life, so I can see these things like in myself. So I came out here maybe 2 years in. The first year was like chaos. Like it was, that was another trauma in my life. But I, you know, I was still traveling with the auto shows, and I remember one time I was on an airplane. I told you, like, when I fly, I have like these huge connecting moments or revelations within myself. I like to like look out the window, and I just see the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not just by myself. And I started thinking these things. I was like, I can't be the only one feeling like a huge void in my life. I can't be the only one feeling super lonely, super confused, super lost, like all these things.
And that's a question we all ask ourselves right before we go ask for help or we join a community.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I finally just gave myself that time. And I just remember looking out the window, and I literally asked myself, and I'm like, what is it that I'm missing? Like, what is this piece that I'm missing? And I don't even want to cry, but it's just my past, you know, just reconnecting to my past. So anyways, it was a really good moment for me because I was never asked. So I asked myself, you know? So anyways, once I started figuring all that out, I started going on this journey, like this self journey of just unraveling all those layers of the adoption trauma coming out of the fog, understanding like why I am the way that I am. And I'm still obviously on this journey, like trying to just understand like, oh, well, why am I like this? Oh, well, maybe because of this trauma, or maybe because, you know, I didn't get nurture nature here, like in identity, like all these things started unraveling and unpacking. And so eventually I started connecting with some people, like other Russians out here in LA. There's a ton of Russians. So I, you know, connected with some Russians. I made some, you know, other adoptee friends out here too.
Daria, you're getting a lot of love right now. Anastasia's giving you a virtual hug. Diana said you're so amazing. The Wandering Katia is sending you hearts, just so you know.
Thank you, guys.
You have a safe and loving place right now.
Thanks, guys. I had a feeling I was going to cry, but anyways.
It's okay to cry.
So I just started going on this journey, and just started aligning with everything within myself and like attracting these things into my life. And then I started trying to put my puzzle pieces together. Like, okay, well, what about my past? You know, the first family that adopted me, didn't keep a lot of the paperwork because of unfortunate things. They didn't choose or decide to keep it because I think they were upset that I was, you know, not going to be with them anymore. So unfortunately, the paper trail is a mess. I don't have really any documents. And even if it is in the States, or if it ever was within those three families, you know, that I've been with, also trace it back to Russia. You know, Russia was very corrupt in the 90s. It was very corrupt. I don't think a lot of like documents were like truly documented the right way. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many unanswered things and questions that I just don't have. And the only thing that I had was like my name, which, you know, truthfully, it's like, to what degree do you know to trust that that's your name? What if that was just another falsified name? You know?
And you don't have your birth certificate. Like, you have nothing.
Yeah, I don't have my actual like birth certificate, but I have, I don't know how I have this, but it must have been the only paper that was like kind of passed down, fortunately, that stated, you know, not just like my adoption date from the first family out of Russia, but also on my birth name, which is Valentina Anatolievna Eremenko. And
that's
my
beautiful.
Thank you. And I found out like my middle name would mean like daughter of Anatoly. So I'm like, okay, maybe my birth father's name, maybe I have his name, you know. So I started, you know, just going on to any platforms that I can find and like Google this name or just look up this name or just whatever I could do. And then that's when I found, you know, I'm adopted, because I remember I Googled something like, like something so wild, right? Like, how do I find my Russian family? Like just something crazy.
Yeah.
But it's how we feel, you know? And I found I'm adopted, and I found like, you know, some of the things that Alex had posted about like, go to VK, go to OK, like use these apps to try to, they're like the Russian networking, like Facebook apps. And so that's when I, you know, reached out and emailed him, and I was like, you know, here's my story. I don't really have any documents. I have nothing to go off of, but anything you can do to help, like, let me know. And I remember I went like probably almost a year, maybe half a year without responding, because I just was not ready. I still wasn't ready to even connect further. And then after I got an opportunity to go to Europe, to go to Germany for this job. And I basically was like, yes, like totally. So I went back to Germany, and, or not back to Germany, went back to Europe, went to Germany though. And I just was like, you know, obviously I got my passport first. I went to Jamaica and this and that. And that was a whole nother really cool thing. When I got my US passport, I'm like, oh my God, I can go to Russia if I wanted.
Yeah.
But kind of not. It's
no.
You know, I thought I could right away, but no, there's so many steps to that. But I just started thinking these things, right? Being more curious again. And then once I, you know, went to Germany, I started like feeling like, whoa, I'm in Europe again. And then aside from that, I was like Googling and like mapping, like how far is, you know, St. Petersburg, my birth city, from here? Like, how would I get there? If I like wanted to do something crazy right now, how far is it? And it was like super close, like train or whatever it is. And I'm just like, whoa, like this is like so cool. Like I'm so close to being near my homeland again. And that was like a huge thing that came back up again. So I really connected when I was there. And it was hard because I was there for like a job, but I really wanted to like sit there and process and feel, you know, all those things. And while I was there, I actually had emailed the adoption agency that my family went through to adopt me, the Rottenberks. And I reached out and I'm like, hey, is there any documentation that you have that was passed down from the first family that could have been from Russia? Like, please just give me anything that you have. And I got an email while I was in Germany. I got an email back from the agency. And basically it stated, how do I say this? It was stated and assumed by my first family, it was their statement that was kept in my paperwork, that stated they assumed that my birth parents were alcoholics and had both passed away, and that I was malnourished and this and this and that. And I just was like, at first I read that in the email, and I'm here in Germany, which is super close to Russia already, and I'm just feeling so much already, and I'm like, wow, okay, I give up. I just give up, like completely give up, right? And then I started thinking more on it, and feeling like, no, I want to, like, I question that. How does a person just say that? How do you just say something like that? There's no proof, there's no documents, there's no, I remember my birth father came to visit me right before I was adopted. So how did he just like pass away right after? My birth mother wasn't in the picture. If I have one memory, I may have one memory of her. I'm not sure if it was her though. But it was always like, I remember he was there. So like, how did he just like pass away right after? And wouldn't you think that would be told to me? Like, that's important information. And I just started thinking all these things, and I'm like, I need answers. I need clarity. And, that's a whole nother thing too. If I do find out, hopefully one day I get to find out answers. And if I do find out that both of them have passed away, of course it's going to completely shatter me. But at least I have the proof, and not just a paper that states from another person, and at least I can then be like, well, now I confirmed who this person is, and that could have been, that is my birth father or that is my birth mother. Now maybe I can find other family that is related, and I can go off of something, just something like. So anyways, with all that, I came back to the States, and I was just like so motivated to just do as much as I could. I was just motivated to just get this like consistently going. So, I looked up this, my birth father's name, if that would have been him, on VK. Like, I started going crazy on it, and to such an extent that I had to like, disconnect from the apps, which I've been disconnected for a while now, just because it was all dead ends. It was a very common name, and it was just too much. It was just too much. I was getting nowhere. But with that, I also attracted a person that wanted to start like a documentary for me, and just kind of started wanting to document like my experience, my emotions, like tell my story, right? So that was really cool. In addition to that, I had also connected with a private investigator through a mutual friend that had connected us, and he was offering to kind of help me like for free, just out of the goodness of his heart. And
sweet.
And I trusted him, and it kind of fell out, kind of went nowhere. It's been hard to navigate because there's been no reason as to why. And for me, my biggest, void, for most of us adoptees, it's abandonment. For me, it's not knowing why. Why did a person stop looking? Why did my birth father, leave? Why are they assuming that they passed on? Like, why? I don't know. Like,
I mean, I still have all the whys. I mean, it's just
makes me go insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does. And so yeah, that all those things kind of just concluded. It just, nothing ever came from it. But I was like starting to get so inspired, like, yep, I got to do this for myself, and I'm now consistent in it, like completely, and I won't turn back. And not only that, I just was like motivated to just continue to tell my story to help others, because I'm like, all of us adoptees have different stories and different challenges, and for me, I'm all about not giving up. That's like my biggest thing. I gave up on myself by numbing all that away for so long, not processing for so long, that now that I'm opening up to all these things, it's like a lot. It's a lot.
It's very heavy. It's so heavy to carry around and deal with on a daily basis.
It is. And now I'm just like, I'm so open to whatever it is, like any avenue I can take to just understand myself, to put those, like, all I have really is possibly my name. If that's my real name, that would have been my birth father's name. So I have that info, hopefully, to go off of. I have, you know, I've taken 23andMe Ancestry. I've had like fourth cousins, like really distant cousins, but it's been kind of cool to kind of see that in a way. But then it's like, okay, that's still like fourth grandparents away, you know, like super crazy. And so no connections there. It's just been dead ends everywhere. So at least what I can do now within my journey is like connect to myself, connect to, you know, I have kind of multiple names. I have, you know, Daria, I have Dasha, which is a nickname for that. A lot of people have been starting to call me Dasha. Valentina, which would have, I think it's my birth name. So just connecting to all those identities and how, you know, how they're all different, but they're all part of me. Connecting to Russia, connecting to the culture, like cooking Russian meals, connecting to other adoptees, connecting to other Russians. I mean, it's crazy. Like, even I was in Tulum and I connected with like Russian girls, like just randomly. You know, it's just like I've just been attracting those connections in a way. So that's really all I could do. And so I got my passport, my Russian passport. So I got my citizenship like re-approved, which is a very triggering process for any Russian adoptees watching. Very triggering for me, at least, because in addition to that, I had to Daria. Oh my God, in Russia, I'm known as Daria, and my last name would be my first family that adopted me. So I had to sign under that name, which is, it's not my family, you know. I love them. It was my first family, but it's not my family now. And it's been a lot to navigate for me emotionally, because I'm going back to Russia sometime this year just to connect to Russia and the culture, and just to connect to my memories and everything and feel everything again. It's just, I think, really special and important to do that, even if there are dead ends, and even if there are, I guess, for me, unfortunate reunions or anything negative from it. I want to at least take like, hey, I have Russian blood in me and I'm Russian, you know?
Darn right you are.
And those memories too, that's all I have is like my name to try to connect to, and my memories, and trying to put together, like I remember the apartment that I used to live in. I remember the orphanages, you know? So I remember visiting St. Basil Cathedral, like all these things. So just connecting to all of that is going to be really special to me, but I'm also like so terrified. Like I'm very nervous about that. Just because mentally, emotionally, like spiritually, like the unknowns. What if I go back to Russia and I decide this is too much? I thought I was excited, but this is actually too much for me, you know? And then I disconnect again, like I always do. It's like I've been connecting so much, I want to keep doing it. And like, and I know I'll still stay connected in any way, because that's all I have. That's all I have. But where was I going with this? I feel like I was going somewhere. Yeah,
to Russia.
Going back to Russia, I'll have to be like, my Russian passport is under my first family's name. So that was, I cried after I had to sign under that name. I cried. It was sad. You know, of course I have love for that family. It's just, they're not my family anymore, you know?
Right.
And having to kind of retake on that identity again is going to be like kind of crappy, which I'll have to go through a really extensive thing to change it to Daria Rottenberk. But that's kind of how my journey has been. It's just been really, really challenging. I think every story is so different. And I think with my story, there's no worse story than others. I think we all have our own traumas that we deal with. But I think for me, it's been extremely hard, because most adoptees are able to at least have some documents, or if they're not, at least only been with one family, you know? And for me, I've been with practically 3 different families. And not only that as a layer, but the first family decided to make assumptions and to kind of manipulate me, and on top of it, not pass down the information that is deserved for me to have. So with the whole journey that I've been on, I'm all about perception now. Mm-hmm. I'm all about the adoptee triad, adoptive families that I've had. Also connecting to the orphanages, like, to me, that's a huge layer in my life too, that I know has made me who I am today. And connecting to, any birth things that I am able to connect to, like just different perceptions, and trying to just filter through all of that while still owning, like, hey, all of this happened due to me. This is my life. I'm the center of it, like it's a really cool spotlight, but it's also like, I feel like I'm taking it all in for everybody in a way. Yeah. And even, when I turned about 18,
how many times did you turn 18?
When I first turned 18. When I turned 18, I came home, and, well, maybe I won't tell the specifics, because I want to be respectful as possible and mindful as possible. And I'm not fully ready to get into it too. But I basically reconnected with my first family when I was around 18. And I was very excited. I was very, very excited. I was very thrilled. And I thought I had to keep that family separate from my family, the Rottenberks. Mm-hmm. And so I did for like 2 years. And this is actually part of the reason why I'm out here in California. I would fly out and visit them in California. I would visit them in their other homes in Michigan. And I just was having a blast. It was just so much fun. And I felt that family-ness with them as well. Because to me, it's love all around. Like, it's additional love. It's different from everybody. There could be some trauma and toxicity here, but, maybe these things are missing here. So it's like I was trying to put it all together. This was like, I think 18 to like 21 or so. Mm-hmm. And eventually, I had to just be like, okay, like, my family found out that I was, in contact with them, seeing them, and it broke them. My dad specifically. And I didn't know how to handle it, because I'm like, this isn't your life. I'm like, it's up to me. It's up to me. And I understand, like, basically it took me years to understand. Now that I'm out here in LA more alone, I'm starting to understand, like, why my family is so, why my dad specifically is so hurt and upset by it, is because of the things that he knew that I may not have understood when I was younger. And once he gave me those notebooks, I was able to go through them and see, like, where my headspace was at from 6 to 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just was like, now I'm just understanding, like, what everything is. I'm understanding, like, hey, I love all parts of my story. I love all the people a part of my story. I do. I love, but I also see it for what it is too. And I now am starting to set more boundaries for myself. And
good, and that's a big thing, boundaries.
Yeah, I'm all about, like, boundaries and perspective right now. Like, that's totally what I'm about. And always having hope. And
give me 1 second. If anybody cannot be respectful, please leave this chat immediately. Unfortunately, I cannot block people while I'm on here. I wish there was a way, but please be respectful for my guest, and nobody engage with each other. Just leave them be. But thank you.
The creeper.
Yeah, I don't like people. I wish there was a way. I had the same thing happen to me when I was live, and it was bothering me, but please
definitely
don't listen to them.
Allie, hey Allie, thank you for being a part.
Allie's an amazing person.
I know. Thank you for looking out, because I'm just, like, rambling on my story, and I
think the best sometimes, like, if you just block them and ignore them, you just don't give them any knowledge. So that's why I've been trying to, like, just listen to you and just let you look at me the whole time. But yes, please do not be disrespectful on this platform. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's just not needed or necessary. And plus, I think there's a lot of creepers on accounts and stuff. So
they're bored and they're just.
So try, Allie, could you screenshot who they are and tell us to block them right after? Thank you.
Daria, we have about 5 minutes left. I hate to cut us off.
No,
I'm really enjoying our conversation. But
it's good timing.
I want you to finish what you wanted to say.
Now I'm just like on a journey of, like I said, like the perspective, I'm now starting to like come more into myself. Like, okay, not only am I coming into my story, my journey and my memories and putting all the puzzle pieces together, but like, what do I stand for? Like, who am I? What am I really about? And I'm realizing like I'm really deep. I'm very introspective. I believe in having different perspectives, but also hearing others. I believe in having faith and hope and never giving up, trusting your gut, and just doing anything you can to connect, like as an adoptee, anything you can that feels good, of course, as you're ready for it. Like anything that you can, like let's say eventually later on in my life, I find out really horrible things on my past. And, you know, this is most adoptees' experiences, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Things that I found out was not easy for me, and they broke me, and I'm still repairing from it.
Completely.
But, you know, I always say it's better to know.
Yeah.
As bad it is, it's better to know.
You have to take the good with the bad, and I think, as I'm going back to Russia this year, I think I've just been so excited and taking so much good that now I'm like, wait, don't let me forget about the bad. You know, I have to remember, and it's a balance act, and it is so much. It's really just so many layers to it. Yes. And aside from all of that, I really just I'm glad that I'm able to be here and just tell my story, because I'm all about helping other adoptees tell their stories or share what they've experienced in this and that. And like you said, like you do the same thing, but like we need to tell our stories. We need to be vulnerable and share that. And
sometimes the host needs to become the guest.
Exactly.
And let it out.
So yeah, I want to push myself more, but it's just been really hard. I've had a lot of blockages in doing it. Because I think it's just, I have these thoughts about myself, like I'm just a hot mess. I have, you know, such a crazy story, like not just an adoptee, but really so many layers to my story too. But yeah, like I said, take the good with the bad. And now I'm on a journey, not just for myself, but for other adoptees, and being a part of I'm Adopted, and just being on like the Russian American side of things, and just connecting more to people, like-minded people, whether they're adoptees or not, too. Helping share my perspective, helping seeing other perspectives.
You're bringing awareness. Yeah.
Exactly. And listening to other perspectives too. Like it's like we're all adoptees, but we're also different. We all have different personalities and experiences, different ages, locations that we come from. Like there's so many layers to it. And so just, taking the good with the bad.
You just got to peel one layer at a time.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of emotion. Like for me, I'm extremely sensitive, but I'm fully open to everything that's coming, because I asked for it, and I'm consistent in receiving it within myself now. So that's it.
Well, that was beautiful, honestly.
Thank you.
You did an amazing job this whole time, and you just
when I get to talking like this, this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but I black out. I blank out, and it just comes out.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Oh, well, let me go back to some comments too, because I love
the good ones, not the weirdos.
Yes, please.
We don't need the weirdos here, guys.
I try not to. I don't like to interrupt my guests when they're talking, so that's why I don't like. But I always like to read them out at the end. So when you were talking about, okay, so so Taz said you are so amazing and strong. Anastasia said, I can totally relate to you, Daria. I found out that my biological mother put a false father's name on my birth certificate.
Right.
And Allie said mine did too.
Right. And that's a whole nother layer for me in my story too. It's like, oh my God, what if I've been connecting to this Valentina birth name and it's not even my name?
Yeah.
so much behind it, but I totally understand that.
Sasha said, I hope we all find closure one day on this journey we're all riding together. Allie said, I agree, Sasha. The best closure for me has been to choose and adopt myself. I literally love Allie's adopt yourself.
I know.
Like,
that's totally what I'm doing.
And it helps. It really does. When you actually sit and think about what that means, it's like, it's not just 2 words. It's like, oh my gosh, like if you look at the meaning behind it, it's so powerful and it's needed. And, you know, everyone needs closure in one way and another. And it's however you find it, as long as it's right for you.
Yeah.
You know, my closure I always thought it was my parents, that I needed my birth parents to love me. But I'm learning that my closure is me loving myself and accepting everything for what it is. But again,
I think it's always closure. That. I think at the end of the day, it's always self-love. I think that's just the root. That's just the root of everything. But for me personally, it's like, just what happened. You know, I was 4, 5, 6 years old. I don't know what happened exactly. I just have memories and emotions and feelings that I've held on to. I'm 29 now, for like over 20 years.
It's hard to accept the unknown, and that's the difference.
Yeah. And I want to break that pattern within myself. I'm tired of, you know, I also, and really quick, like I've noticed that I attach to people quickly, and if it's a really deep connection, I'm like, oh, you're my friend forever. Like, oh my gosh. And then it'll turn sour, or I'll have to set boundaries or distance myself, or sometimes people outgrow each other. You know, these things happen, and I have a really hard time navigating it, but I'm getting better at it because now I understand why it's so hard for me, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. The Wandering Katia, I agree too, though. I hope everyone finds closure because this can be really hard. Raya said, a fit lady mom, the connection will be very beautiful and also will be very triggering for sure. Absolutely. Diana said, you were brave. It's not easy to do. She's proud of you. Allie said she's so proud of you. Susie, I'm adopted from, how do you say that? Kirov?
Krasnodar?
Kirov, it just says.
Oh, Kirov?
Yeah, Russia. Susie, I'd love to connect with you. Send me a message if you like. Staying grounded is definitely not the easiest. Each layer is beautiful. Therapy is amazing. Yes, it is. Therapy is so needed. Thanks, Daria. I could listen to you all day. So could I. Ali said, love you, Daria. You've come so far in such a short time.
Thank you.
Well done for your articulate, beautiful interview. You're both adopting yourselves. Closure for me was indeed self-love and realizing I am not in my thoughts.
Yeah.
Diana said, not sure if you remember me, Daria, your old neighbor in Royal Oak, but I've been following your journey since the start. Aw.
I think I do. I think I do remember you. Yeah. Thank you for always following, honestly. Back in Royal Oak, that was a while ago, and I was a totally different person. I've shed myself so many times. So thank you.
Aww.
And I think the last thing I want to add is, like, I'm also all about stillness, and I think being still, because I was just so go, especially being out here in LA for the first few years and before quarantine. I was just so go and just busy, work, do whatever I can. And I absolutely had no time for myself. I did not care to take care of myself at all or dig deeper in myself. But then I was frustrated because I'm like, but I'm so deep for others. Why am I not deep within myself? You know? So now I'm like totally diving in and taking this quarantine pretty extreme.
Yeah, I think we all are. COVID has really given us a lot of time to really focus on ourselves and meet each other. So
yeah,
it was a blessing in disguise for some of us.
And connecting like this too, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for joining in tonight and showing so much love and support to Daria. Daria, you did amazing. I love you and keep shining. And I cannot wait to continue watching your journey and your journey to Russia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
everyone. Have a wonderful. You're welcome. Have a wonderful
Thank you
night,
guys
everyone.
for the amazing comments too, for the
good
the
ones.
non-creepers.
We don't like creepers. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good night, Daria.
All right. Download and save, girl.
Yes, I know. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.